It's a tug of war, battling to keep my sanity. Say no more, say no more. I love you, but I can't keep killing me. I look at myself, I wonder why you don't recognize who you traumatize me. Now what do I do? Pick up the pieces and go. I've adored the time I had lived in this fantasy. Now I'm looking for a way to better me, a remedy. I look at myself, wonder why you recognize who traumatized me. Now what do I do? Pick up the pieces and go.
Oh shit, there we go, there we go. Check, 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 mic working okay? Let's fucking go, boys. No sound, no sound, no sound. How about now? Should be good now. Hoping so. Levels look good now. Cool. Anyways, Jake won't be here. Jake is back in the UK, so he is sleeping. He's having some sweet and sound dreams right now. So we're going to do just a little DeFi Q&A. If you guys have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I'm going to answer them as soon as I can when I see them. As they pop up, Mike is working on my end. GG, nice and good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's, intro song, fire. Love this. That was good. Add that to the likes real quick. As far as DeFi, let's kind of check out a little bit of our positions. What's going on here? I'm just going to do a little check on the portfolio real quick. Once we get some of these passwords done. Let's see, V3. Let's check on this bad boy right here. Maybe. If it lets us connect. PC is working overtime, apparently. Intro song was good. I know, I think it's fire, bro. That's such a good one. VFAT is possibly, it might be my whole computer. One sec. Rebby. The PC sounds like a jet engine next to me. I'm not going to lie. Oh. Oh, no. Sometimes this happens with crypto, and it's just part of the learning curve. It's quite unfortunate. Okay. Wait, we're locked in? We're locked in? 21 deposits. Craziness. Hope everyone's week went well. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. A bunch of traveling and family. All the food was crazy. I feel absolutely smothered with brain fog still. All right, let's take a peek. Positions here looking strong. 73%. It's not the craziest thing in the world. This one is doing all right, 73%. And you'll see I've been shopping around a bunch of these little test positions down here, just kind of having fun scouting. And something that I've been interested in, which the EPR actually dropped significantly. But I've been looking into some little gold plays. How can we experiment with gold in our portfolio with DeFi here? And so PaxG was one of them. I've got ETH to PaxG, which is pegged to gold right here. I put $2 in it. I'm just testing the position, but it's quite interesting. It was doing about 150% APR. Now it's saying 20%. It is, oh, we got some questions. Let's see real quick. Some yields have gone down due to lower volume. Should we stick with it or start looking for other opportunities? For example, APY was 120 and now it's down to the 55, 62% range. Okay, perfect. So for example, like my ETH USDC at the top was testing a mainnet position here on this wallet. Same boat, was at like 120 plus. This weekend it's crashed down to 67% APR, right? Which is still fantastic. I'm gonna clear out these little bad ones here real quick. 1 second. Sweet. Which is still fantastic, right? And so if nothing's changed with the asset, you shouldn't be overly worried. Volumes, traditionally, they will fall lower on the weekend. So for example, when we do like our group calls, like masterminds on Saturdays a lot of the time, and APRs always look a little worse on the Saturday calls than they would during the week when we're onboarding new members and stuff like that. It's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles, if you will, in that situation. But it's important to note long term, if you're not chasing APRs, that's not going to change why you invested in that specific pool, you know, hopefully. Like hopefully you're still in, let's just say Link to USDC or ETH USDC because you want that pool. So the APR going down, it's disappointing, but it shouldn't change why you want to be there. But if it does fall and it stays super low, like let's say I had a guy message me in our school group today and he was like, hey man, there's this meme coin I like and the pool says it's going to do 1% a year. I was like, bro, that's not worth it. Like it's just not even worth it at all. You know, so there is a level where you have to find like, is it worth it to run the pool? If it's 50 to 60%, like you're saying, that's something that I still think is a great opportunity. When things are falling to like the 10% and below level, it's like then I'm looking to switch to more like lending type strategies or staking. Like Solana, I get 7-8% on just liquid staking and then lend it out for a little extra APY. So, you know, it just depends on the asset. What pool is that doing the 55 to 62%? And what's your range? We can take a look at it, see what's going on there. Bucked up protein shakes, kind of weird, man. It's like a carbonated protein shake. Kind of funky. Yes, what was I saying a second ago as well? Yes, I was like testing that gold position, gold to ETH. It was saying 150% APR. It's now dropped to 20, which something as safe as gold. That doesn't shock me. But again, if you wanted that pool open, you could have ETH to gold exposure. That's going to make you, let's say, 20, 30% a year, which is not crazy, but that's still a way you could leverage into new pools, which I find quite interesting. And so I'm always looking for fun little strategies like that. That's why you see all these little shitter positions. Let's take a look at it again. Dude, VFAT is not happy today. It's so bad. It won't even close the window. There we go. Let's see. Take a look down here. I did open a Bitcoin to a like Tether's gold, pegged to gold there with Tether, XAUT, and it says 22% APR, but it's done absolutely zero rewards. I only put 80 cents in again, just as like a testing position, just to see like if it's gonna maintain its APR. And that's kind of how I found out with PaxG that it dropped from 150 to 20. But 20 is not bad. 20 is pretty reasonable. Let's check a different wallet. Let's go poke around. Also ordered one of the new Tracers the other day. This is the Tracer Safe 7. Pretty freaking fire. It's Bluetooth compatible with the phone. That's one of the like Tracer I love. One of the biggest reasons I went with Ledger for the longest time instead was because it could Bluetooth to my phone. So I could have that Ledger security, but the convenience of Bluetooth. And now that these ones also support the Bluetooth connection, like it's kind of hard to argue going back to a Ledger. And I still have it. I still have the Flex. You know, it's kind of cool as well, but Tracer with the privacy screen? Roger. I said it like the fucking robot. That's crazy. Appreciate the perspective. I'll stick with it. Dovu H bar pool on Saucer Swap in a range between 1 to 212. What is Dovu? What is that coin? I'm not familiar with that. I don't play around on the H bar ecosystem much myself, anyways, but Dovu I'm not familiar with. Let's take a peek. See what this coin's all about here. The computer's cooked today. H bar Dovu, this one I imagine. It's a V2, so it's full range. So that's it. That's worth noting as well. It should be full range. Let me double check before I just say some shit. Yeah, this looks like it would be a full range pool. So it should be 50-50 of each asset that you have deposited because you're not going to be setting ranges. Watch me just be on full range here. Sorry, my bad. V2 is weird on this one. I'd never play around at H bar. What is this coin though? What is Dovu? That's the biggest question. Let's see. Should I know what this is? 4,000 market cap. Let's see. Did you already hold this beforehand? What is this? See, I'm looking to see if you're hopping in chat. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is, man. But if you're going to be holding it already and you're earning 60% on this, I mean, it's definitely not bad. But again, just keep in mind, you don't want to be buying things just because you're earning an APR, right? Like, you don't want that to be the reason. 1 to 212. Let's see. 1 to 212. I don't even know how you have this set up here, man. And again, never use Saucer Swap either. Let's see. 1 to 212. I'm trying to see what your range would be. Is it 0.1 to 0.212? Yeah, it's bought it years ago. I'm trying to look at your spread here and make it match. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. These numbers aren't really adding up for me here. But I mean, if you're making 60% off two assets you want to hold anyways, then I mean, like, yeah, go for it. For me, I don't know a thing about this coin, man. And again, I'm not a big H bar guy, so I'm never over here on Saucer Swap anyways. So that's why I'm kind of fumbling around here a little bit. But again, that's just proof of what I teach you guys. Like, invest in what you already like and what you believe in. This is just not something I've spent a lot of time on, and Dovu have absolutely no clue. I'm much more on the EVM side of the ecosystem. Solana and Sui are a lot of the layer ones I like to use. Monad as well. I've been using a little bit. HBAR's just not been like one of my horses I chose for the race. But 60% on it, man. If you can make 60% off your H bar and you are already holding this, like you said, you bought it years ago, then I mean, it's an easy dub. Like, put those dead assets to work, right? That's kind of how I was talking about Chainlink, how I'd had that sitting there doing nothing forever. And let's go back to, like, had some Chainlink sitting there doing nothing. And it's like, okay, well, let's put it to work, right? To where min is 1.0 and max is 212 on H bar price point. Bet. That makes more sense. Issuing carbon credits in 2026. That's crazy, bro. Carbon credits is crazy. Let me see. Where was I looking? Link USDC. It just said 100% earlier. Now it's saying 19%. The average has been around like that 60 to 70% based off the spreadsheet. The Ethereum mainnet one, it's saying 35%. That's about true. I would say it's pretty nail on the head. I was split testing the difference. This one does have a little more capital, and it's doing a little over a 2x in terms of like outpacing. Dollar for dollar, though, this one isn't doing a full 2x, it's doing like 1.5. Anyways, the point just being, though, is that we're putting Chainlink to work, right? Because I've had Chainlink sitting there doing nothing for the longest time and never actually put it in. So I finally, what was this, like a week or two ago? So off my game. I haven't streamed with Jake for a little bit. let's see. Which wallet is this? Hold on. Okay. Bitcoin and USDC. Is this one? More Bitcoin. Locked in. Avalanche, boom, got a little link lent out, put that link to work, just leverage it, little side link bag that's sitting there, borrow against it, put that borrowed money to work in some pools and just get that printing, right? Just get it printing. Put some spot money in there too, obviously, but again, it's like I had that link sitting there, didn't do anything for 2 years plus with this thing just going sideways, up, down, up, down. So hey, now we're in a range. It's like 11 and a half bucks up to $23, $24, and that's pretty much all the price history this bad boy's had. Let's just pull up TradingView, and then I'll read that comment in just a second, bro. Let's see. Let's turn off these crazy, crazy boxes here. But yeah, I think I have a range of like 11 and a half, which would be about right here, which just covers literally back to, let's just say, end of 2023 price action. So 2 years of price action to the bottom, up to about a 23 or 24 top. So not the all-time highs of, the pumps, but I mean, it's catching most of that move there. So it's totally fine with me. Very, very wide range. If I'm making 60 to 70% APR, kind of like you were talking about in chat, that's perfect for me, right? 60 to 70%, I'm not going to complain. That chain link sat there for 2 years making 0%. So I'm happy to finally get that to work. Hey, Parker, can you quickly take us through what it's like to, let's see, engage? What do you mean by that? Truly understand DeFi and get on with it, that it takes time. How you charge for services rendered. Engage? What is engage? Is that a fucking word? Am I retarded? What does this mean? No, it's not a word. Okay. Probably engage. Yeah, I mean, definitely book a call, right? Book a call if you want to see if we're a good fit. My sales guys will talk to you. We'll see if it makes sense. For some people, it doesn't. As far as going through like the process on your own and what that looks like, I mean, really taking a sit down look at your portfolio and thinking like, okay, I own these coins. Like, how many do you own? Okay. For example, if you have, I've seen guys join the group and they have, let's say, 100 coins. They might even have a 100 grand portfolio, but they have 100 coins. They're all $1,000. It's like, that's hard to manage. Okay. So I'm a big believer of concentrating the portfolio down to things that you actually can control and then easily see how they're performing, make choices, make decisions, learn to monetize those assets. I don't like the shotgun approach. I like picking like 10 coins max and like we're running with that, right? Same with DeFi positions. It's like this is not like I'm not actually running all these positions, right? A lot of this is just for tracking purposes to like scout different APRs, different examples and conversations that come up with on calls. But like if you see like the actual value, like this wallet right here, I mean, there's really like only four, I mean, not even, there's really like just three positions in here that are actually significant capital, right? Over if you count the $100, okay, cool, but really slimming things down so you start to take control of that portfolio. If you're someone that was sitting there on, let's just say you had a bunch of Chainlink, right? If this is a big percentage of your portfolio, the rabbit hole for me that I found out this is the best way to play DeFi is to lend out that link, get that link over here, right? Lend it out, it's collateral. You pay 5% a year to pull equity out of that link. So you still maintain full price exposure to your link, which I just fucked up the screen. So when prices go back to all-time highs, you're still gonna make all that appreciation. But I'm using this as a business loan, 5% a year, to bring over here and use loans like that for the DeFi portfolio to then you can, let's just say worst case, it was 50% APR. You're 10xing what you're paying. You're borrowing 5% a year, you're making 50% a year. And this fluctuates all the time. And really the biggest stickler here is this Link USDC. It's averaging a very good 60% APR plus, but it fluctuates nonstop. So it'll make this look bad for a few minutes, then it fixes itself. But to truly understand DeFi and get on with it, I mean, it also depends on like what step you're at, right? If you are someone that doesn't really have a lot of experience using wallets and things like that, just start playing around. Like start playing around with wallets, get stuff sent over, just fill out the ecosystem, throw a couple bucks on Aave, lend it out, borrow $1 against yourself. Like it's okay to just play with a couple bucks and actually use the ecosystem how it's intended to be used, right? If you're someone that does already have that experience and you're pretty native with wallets and comfortable and you know how to use the sites and stuff like that, I mean, I think naturally you start to progress down that journey. Working with me, a lot of that is just going to be implementation. It's like, okay, you have these assets, boom, we're doing this, like, let's get it rolling. And it's also going to just shortcut past a lot of the pitfalls and stuff. Like, I've made tons of mistakes. I've lost tons of money doing bullshit, right? So I'm always telling people, like, use the popular sites, don't try new shit, don't chase APRs, buying coins because they're paying well, because those coins go to zero, right? I was so smart making 800% APR on certain coins, and then they go to zero, and then now I have $0 in my liquidity pool, right? So it's important to, make sure it's assets you believe in. That's why I'm not saying this is at all shitcoin, but like stuff I don't know, like I don't shop for those, right? Because that's how things can go wrong. And I've learned a lot of mistakes the hard way. Same with new chains and stuff popping up, new exchanges popping up. Sometimes a new exchange will pay really, really well because it's brand new. You can be a big chunk of the liquidity that's there, but also you have to be careful because it's brand new, right? What if it's going to get hacked, anything like that? So I mean, there's lots of layers to peel back on this DeFi onion. I mean, there really is, but it just depends on where you're at. If you ask a little more of a specific question, I'm happy to dive into that. But I mean, really, it just depends on where you're at. I need a drink. My mouth is so dry. As far as like education and stuff too, I mean, right? It's like essentials. I got a whole pinned post full of all these hot links, different places, like spreadsheets you can use to track, different referral links for discounts and stuff too, for like tax services, just the official links for all these different sites and stuff like that, just to make things easy, right? That way you're not shopping around on Google and you click a scam link and you get scammed, right? So that's a big part of the game. We do have a bunch of modules as well. This is kind of the OG modules I made where it's like, hey, this is learning how to do DeFi. This is old, bro. It's like 2 years old right here. More in-depth ranges, bunch of like different modules. This is more like the super fast. Like you could watch these videos, spend 2-3 hours doing these, and like you'll have a game plan to run and hit it. And then we also just have more like the more advanced. This is where you're getting like all the fucking meat of everything, which some of this stuff is not out yet or anything like that. But I mean, this is going to be a more in-depth breakdown to kind of, if you want to take it slow, if you want to know all the ins and outs, the nerdy stuff, a lot of that's in there. And then again, a lot of it is just that, we have 131 members now, where it's like 131 people doing this. You have those live conversations, and it's people like actively doing everything. So if you have a question like, hey, I like this asset, the odds are someone else probably owns it. Or if you're like, how do I do this? The odds are I know how to do it. And it's just, access and implementation for the most part. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. Investor Chip, howdy y'all. What's going on, man? But yeah, experimenting with the Link USDC the last week or so, and yeah, it's pretty chill. I mean, it's again nothing exciting quite like. Let's see how the Monad pools are doing, because I know that's been pretty popular in our group lately. Excuse me. Man, these have fallen in half. So, I mean, these are still awesome, right? It's doing 268%, Monad USDC. They were doing like 400+% for quite a while, so it's fallen. But again, if you already like Monad, it's not a big deal because you're making less money, but it's still a great APR and an asset you want. If you're only buying this because it was doing 400%, then you might be disappointed. Now, stuff as simple as Bitcoin USDC, 40% Y, doing 50% a year. Like, how are you going to beat that, right? And again, my preferred strategy, if you believe in Bitcoin long term and say you don't want exposure to all this different bullshit, right? It's like, well, you should probably be looking to, let me see if this is the right wallet. No, what wallet am I on? Okay, let's just talk about this first. Again, I'm lending Bitcoin out, borrow against it, and then I'm using that borrowed liquidity to open things like that Bitcoin USDC. So you're making 50% and also gaining more exposure to Bitcoin, more price action. Are you excited for the trip to Thailand? Yes, very excited. Tickets booked and everything. Going to have a lot of fun. I'm kind of nervous. I guess not like nervous, like scared, just nervous, like excited. Like, come on, like I have to wait 4 weeks. So it'll be fun. Boxing Jake out there will be interesting. Little hand injury going on, but we can't let that be an excuse. Got to keep training, He's not taking me serious, man. It's just gonna be a friendly spar, but I've never fought before, so I have zero experience, anything like that. So it's been interesting. I'm not supposed to win. I'm not supposed to win. I hope you don't get Jake Paul. Bro, that was so bad. Jake Paul and Andrew Tate got humbled. That was crazy. I threw money on Jake Paul just for shits and giggles because it was like an 8x. I did it through Jupiter, actually. I think Jupiter has like, you can bet on anything here, kind of like Polymarket and stuff now, or you could just go to the prediction markets, right? And so I did it on Jake, he got his fucking jaw broken in half. It's crazy. And then I didn't do it on the Tate fight, but yeah, he got fucking clobbered, dude. Both of those. So yeah, no headshots. Jake needs my brain to monetize. So he's not gonna do any headshots. Okay, at crazy full speed. So we'll see what happens. I've never fought. Been sparring my coach. It's quite interesting. Um, yeah, but it's something I needed to do probably, right? That way, if I get mugged in Thailand, I can do something about it. You know. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited though. The whole month out there. Just watch some boxing anime and I'll be good, bro. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of TV or anime or anything like that in quite a while. I haven't played video games in months and months and months either. Um, just the whole YouTube thing and everything kind of got in the way of that, I guess. But yeah, probably on that flight, I could probably knock out a whole like series of something on that. It's a 25-hour trip, so if anyone has good stuff like that, can start some pre-downloads and have those ready for the flight. Also, they're like what, 12 or 13 hours ahead, so that's going to be the hardest part is turning the sleep schedule all the way around. So I might just try to stay up super super late and then crash. But like what? I don't even know when the best time I should go to sleep is. If I go to sleep at noon here, that would be like midnight there. I'm cooked. Jet lag's gonna suck. Jet lag will suck. Jake dropped a new vid though, with the Urus. That thing looks freaking fire. Let's see. Is it this one? I think so.
Family home.
Look at this thing. Has he got a picture of the outside? Hold up. Hold up. Oh, look at that thing. I was hoping for a better shot there. There we go. Look at that thing. Ooh. He wanted me to go to the UK before Thailand so I could see it and stuff, but it's just logistically, that's just a lot of extra travel. Maybe after. Show me a different platform. VFAT stresses me out. You know, Bobby hates it too. So the thing about VFAT is it's an aggregator. So it's just taking the information from all these different sites, all these different networks into one place, right? So you can always go directly to the actual store itself, the actual store. Think of this as like this is Amazon. You can purchase it and it just gets delivered to your home, or going out and actually going to the store. So you can always go out and go to the store. It's just now it's a little extra work to shop for things. So VFAT I still like to use for shopping at least. But if you wanted to go directly to the site, like it just would depend on what it was that you wanted. So if we looked at, I mean, we just go to like Uniswap. Excuse me. Uniswap, pool. I don't even use Uniswap directly anymore. It's so bad. So bad. And we could look at, let's just see, let's explore pools actually. And it's like, what are you looking for, right? If we're looking on, let's just pick, should we pick Monad? Fuck around. And, ooh, a stablecoin pool. Kind of trash APR there, but just interesting, right? Let's see, let's go back. Let's look for Monad USDC. I think my computer's just cooked. Here we go. Set your price range. You just open, just like traditionally. I just like using VFAT because it's going to give you the live APR feeds, and there's a lot of ease of life here. Jake told me to start with Astroport, so I'm not overwhelmed. Astroport, what is Astroport? I don't even know what that is. The fuck is this? I don't even want to click this. Do I not know about this? Is he talking about this in Discord or what? Make sure you're not getting a fake Jake texting you too, by the way. Because I don't know what this is. And I've never heard Jake talk about it. But also I don't watch his videos like religiously sometimes, so it's possible that he did. Yeah, I mean I'm not gonna click that right now as I don't know what it is. You can put in chat what it is though. Noob question, what happens if the pool goes outside of your range? Easy peasy question, right? So It's pretty simple, actually. Like, nothing really bad happens to you. Let me switch wallets again. We find like a simpler position. No, it's Jake. What is the Astroport? When was he talking about that? Is he just DMing or? So for example, let's look at ETH USDC here, right? If this goes outside of your range, like this range, wide as fuck, bro. 2,700, 4,100. Smaller DeFi platform for a beginner like me. Yeah, but you wouldn't want to use a smaller platform. Safer is going to be in the bigger platforms. So I'm just confused. I can text Jake. I mean, Jake's asleep. I can't text Jake. JK. ETH USDC, right? This is a range, 2,700 up to 4,100, okay? So what happens if it goes outside of your range? Well, it depends on which way it goes outside. First of all, the biggest difference is that you're no longer making an APR. It's gonna be $0, right? 0% APR because you're out of range. So you're not the one being used for liquidity and swaps. So you're no longer providing a service, so you're no longer getting paid. Fundamentally, what's happening is you slowly start DCAing into Ethereum, or on the way up, you DCA into USDC in this example. So if price goes out to the downside, you're just holding 100% Ethereum wherever that price goes until it comes back into range and starts cashing you out slowly. The opposite is true to the upside. So at 4,100 in this case, I'd be holding 100% cash, USDC. And I would not get any appreciation if ETH went to 4,500 because I'm holding cash. And I would only hold cash until I withdraw or change anything, or when price comes back into range, I'd start to DCA back into Ethereum, right? Yeah, snuggle strategies, that's definitely in chat. I see that. Something you could do. So what's a good way to do an example of this? Let's see. I don't have anything out of range right now. So something you could do, how I like to do snuggles is going, like some people, they do the snuggle to where they lower the range, but it's still outside of range. My preferred way, let's just look here real quick. Let's pretend, look at this bottom one here, okay? Let's pretend this was your range. So the bottom was 3,065 theoretically. And let's say the price is now under 3 grand. Okay, cool. So what's actually happened? Well, your APR, 0%, like we talked about. And you just be holding 100% Ethereum. So what would a snuggle be doing to get back in range? Most people, they'll basically just do the tiniest little out of range position. So nothing changes. You're not going to swap any assets or anything like that. Me personally, I like to just, boop, barely get it back in range. You don't have to go 0.1. I'll go full, like, let's just say 1% or something, right? Just barely sneak it back in, and then we're back to printing 88%, and you're minimizing any impermanent loss because of the fact that your ratio is going to be like 99.9. If you do a crazy new range like this, you're going to change a lot more of that composition of assets just because of how the pool works. The best way to break that down is just remember, when we're here, you're holding 100% Ethereum. If I were to just change the range down to, geez, I can't type, something like this, we're buying a big chunk of USDC here, which means technically we're selling Ethereum at a lower price than we initially bought it. So that's why you don't want to overmanage ranges and why you want to go wide the first time, because your entries still matter. And when you're changing things, sometimes you're changing the composition of your assets and when they actually get cashed out, and you don't want to do that. I don't want to overwhelm you with like all that information, because you don't need to go that deep into it at the current moment, but it is important. So that's why, here, let's do Orca. I think I could explain this better in Orca, as it just visualizes it better. Let's look at pools. Let's say something nice and wide, just to look at that. Okay, say you had a nice wide range like this. That's funny that price is back at 128. I had people DMing me in our group that were like, hey, my range is past 125. What do I do? And I said, don't do anything. And now we're back over 125 again. Win. Dub. Okay. So like right now, it's getting close to the bottom of your range. You'll see the composition of a pool like this is 95% Solana and only 5% USDC. And that will perpetually continue to get heavier in Solana the closer to this little bar that it goes. Let me try to make it bigger for you. The closer it gets to here, it'll hit 100%, and then you're just exposed to Solana on the way down. If you are riding that price action to the upside, you slowly get cashed out to more USDC until you hit 100% USDC right here. And again, you're cashed out of Solana, and then you don't get any of this pump up here that might happen, might not. And you can choose to do with whatever you want with your money at that point in time. The biggest thing about rebalancing, say you're out of range. Say your range was, let's do like 135. Okay, cool. So you'll notice that you held Solana 100% from here to here, right? So nothing really happened. You just quit making money and you just were exposed to Solana on the way down, which most of us here already have Solana. Nothing's really changing with your pools, okay? So when you rebalance though, a snuggle would be something like changing it to where you just get it just outside where it would be, boom. You're not changing the composition. You're getting back in range or just outside of range. You could even just boop, get it right back in just like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to minimize any of the composition changes. Because remember, we were just like this. We were just at 100% Solana. So we want to get back in range without changing too much. Boom. Back to 99% Solana. Oops, wrong way. And that's just going to minimize how much Solana we are selling for USDC at a low. We want to minimize that impermanent loss, essentially. Which is why some people are like, okay, why can't I run a range like this? Because I can run a Solana range from, let's go stupid tight. Why can't I just do this and follow price around all the time, right? Because we'll make 200% on Solana, so it'll be easy. Let's go even tighter. Let's go ridiculous. Why can't you do this? Well, one, it's obviously not sustainable. Solana will leave this range in an hour if it wants to. It's not going to stay here for a long time. You cannot keep that consistent. But here's what happens, right? Solana will pump by like 2% and you'll be cashed out to USDC. And price might keep moving, let's say, up to here. And then you have to be like, okay, what do I do now? Open a new range? And so the problem is, if you open a new range up here, fundamentally you're buying Solana at a higher price than you sold it, right? Because you're going to go from 100% USDC to, let's just say, some percentage of Solana now. You're buying it at a higher price than you sold it. So fundamentally, you want to minimize how often you are changing things. That's why you want to go wider the first time and make good buys at good attractive prices still. Like you want to get those nice buys down here. And then you're riding out some of that appreciation as well. And you don't want to be chasing new pools all the way up and then get stuck riding it back all the way down. You don't want that to happen. And that's why, again, my preferred strategy for any liquidity pool in DeFi is spot assets lent out first. Like, for example, I thought it was Link. It's back to Bitcoin again. Different wallet. Lend your Bitcoin out. Borrow USDC against your assets. So you're leveraging against your assets, pulling equity out of them, just like a real estate investor would pull equity out of their home to invest in cash flowing properties. We're doing that, borrowing equity or borrowing from our equity in Bitcoin. And you use that to run your pool positions, right? So if it's like Bitcoin and I'm borrowing against my Bitcoin, 10 grand, throw 11 grand in here, and it makes me, let's just say worst case, even 22 bucks a day. Say it's only making you 700 bucks a month. Cool. You're not going to get a property with 10K down these days. How are you going to get into real estate with 10K, 20K? Not the house you want, not the neighborhood you want, not even for a rental, right? So I'm doing that same kind of business strategy where I'm paying 4% a year to borrow against my Bitcoin and run these DeFi crypto businesses on quality assets. Look, Ethereum, Link, Bitcoin, and a little bit of Monad. There's fucking $100 in here, right? But like, that's the game, right? Hopefully that's making sense, but like that's like all the sauce right there. That's essentially the best way you can play liquidity pools in DeFi, I think. And then when prices pump up, when Bitcoin goes back to, let's say, 125, let's just say Bitcoin goes to 125K tomorrow and all the alts follow. Listen, your pools, a lot of these, they might get cashed out. The Link that I have the range up to $23, $24 or whatever, it's like, cool, I'll be in profit. Automatically took all that into cash. Take that cash and you have two options. You can pay off the debt. You can lend the USDC somewhere else at a higher APR and arbitrage that difference. If you have a large amount of capital, that might be worth doing. If you have a couple grand, it's probably better to pay off the debt. You can then, once your Bitcoin's appreciated back to 125K, your initial collateral has also gained X amount percent increase in price. If it's Bitcoin, you're up 50%. You can just use that to pay off the debt. That's what I did in April. In April, I showed everyone that Ethereum at 1,400. Put like 10K in Ethereum at 1,400. Where was that at? Down here. It 3X to like 30K. And I had borrowed USDC from it initially, and I just paid that off with some of the Ethereum profits and then took that into cash. The market came back down and I bought like another quarter Bitcoin with that. And so that's just the game. The game is infinite. I'm just trying to show you guys how you can do what you want to do, but you need to decide what it is that you want to do. And a lot of that, again, those comments like, how do I get started? It's like, okay, well, what do you believe in and why? If you believe in Bitcoin, like most of us probably do, a lot of people don't buy Bitcoin because they're like, okay, I can't make a 5X off of it. But I'm showing you right here, I don't need to make a 5X off of it because I'm using it to make me 600 bucks a month. Okay? and I use the $600 a month to just then loop back and buy more Bitcoin. And then when we get back to another market all-time high, I can then use a bunch of that extra Bitcoin that's appreciated to just pay off the debt. And then I have these pools open for free, or these are cashed out. And then once these are cashed out at higher prices, let's say the value of the deposit is now 15, 16, 17K, I can use that to pay off the loan, and I keep the difference plus all the profits I bought more Bitcoin with. And so I might sound really autistic right now, but that is the game. That is the game. It's the same thing people do with real estate, where you're buying a house, you buy a home, you put a down payment, leverage into the home, right? That's what it is. Down payment, you have the home, and you have borrowed money from that home, and you use the income from that investment property to qualify for more leverage, which is more loans for more houses, and you open more houses, more doors, more cash flow. It's the same thing here. New money coming in, buy more Bitcoin with it, borrow against your Bitcoin, leverage that into more homes, more DeFi businesses, make more cash flow. Use the cash flow to buy more Bitcoin. More Bitcoin equals more debt you can take. More debt means more businesses. like that's the game, right? And so over a long enough time, like say we are in like a bear market and we go sideways for months and months and months, like that's fine, because we can go sideways for 6 months and off just this portfolio alone, $400, $500, $600 a month. Like let's just say that. Cool. That's fine. Right? Is it making money? That's more Bitcoin for free. Plus all the other Bitcoin you get to buy with your day jobs and everything that we're hustling. Right? And exactly. Rinse, repeat with this. Say exactly, bro. Exactly. My head is spinning. I need to study this more. Sorry, May. Let me see. What's a better way to explain it? I mean, I know you're getting it, Chip. Exactly. Rinse, repeat. I did that with, like I said, the Ethereum in April. And I know I have, is it this one? Oh my God. What is this? I don't know. Go. It's like this, right? This was a bunch of that ETH that I sold at like the $4,000 levels. Dude, I was supposed to sell it at 4K. I didn't. We went to 4,700. I didn't sell then either. I was so greedy. We came back to 4K and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm selling it. So yeah, I used that ETH, wrote it up, and there's a couple of other DeFi positions too that I sold into cash. And then I sold that into cash, and then when the market dipped back down, I had a nice chunk of USDC. I was going to buy a half Bitcoin at 82K, but I got scared and I bought a quarter instead. So I bought a quarter Bitcoin, and this is sitting here for if we do go lower. So if we go lower, this is here. If we go higher, I'm happy I bought here, right? So again, it takes a lot of that pressure off to where a lot of people are freaking out day to day looking at this. But guys, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not looking at the charts every day like that. Sometimes I go 2 or 3 days without looking unless I have people asking questions, right? Because I can come in here and there's another $100 here I can claim right now. Take that $100, buy more Bitcoin with it for free, and continue waiting for the market to eventually go back up to its highs. And like Chip said, rinse, repeat. He says he's getting it thanks to us, right? And so it's all about playing it. For me, it's about playing it where it's a game to win for sure, right? That's what I want to do. It's like I'm not trying to gamble, I'm not trying to day trade. Actually, speaking of gambling, I did do a little funny stuff earlier. We'll talk about that later, but I want to win for sure. That's my game. I watched real estate people get cascaded when the market turned sharply and they lost everything and found themselves in debt they couldn't handle. That is also very true. So that's why it's important that you're never borrowing against assets that you don't already believe in long term, right? And you don't want to borrow against things that are super volatile. It'd be things against like your top 5, top 10 market caps really for the most part. But also keep in mind that I never recommend, and I teach this in our group, where it's like you don't borrow more than 30%, right? And so my example for this, if I can find what I'm looking, I'm already here, fucking retarded, right? Like, okay, let me switch wallets again. Nope, fumbling. Let's see, this one right here. Okay, 23 grand of Bitcoin, and I borrowed $10,000. Okay, let's look at this, and we'll see that the liquidation threshold is 78%. So my LTV has to go down to 78%. And if we look at it, my LTV is currently at a 42 right now at these lows. So basically, not exactly, but Bitcoin almost has to cut in half. Bitcoin has to go down to like about 45 grand for me to get liquidated, right? So we can just do, I think the math is, it should be, this might not be true. Let me double check real quick. The math should be 10,116 divided by, let's make sure real quick. Where's the fucking divided by 78%? I want to make sure that's right. Yeah, 78%. So my Bitcoin collateral to get liquidated this has to be worth 12,969. So yeah, I don't think we're going to go down that low, which means Bitcoin's price would have to, let's see, divide this by 23715. 54%? 54% there? Yeah, don't think that it could happen, right? It could happen, and that's the point. But as price starts falling, I've given myself all that room for Bitcoin to go back down into the $40,000 range, which I don't think most of us believe is going to happen. But if it does, keep in mind, I have the income and also the dry powders you've seen in other wallets to buy more Bitcoin, increase my loan to value ratio. So that's part of the game too. And it's like also for free every month, free, I'm funneling another $700 into Bitcoin, right? Like off just this wallet, off just these two wallets playing with each other. $700 is going back in every month, right? And so like that's the game, okay? And so that's going to help increase the LTV every single month as well. And then if Bitcoin goes up in value, the LTV gets even better than that, right? But like you said, with debt comes risk. So it's important. I like that you're bringing this up. It's important that you don't borrow. I know I have 40%, but for all assets, I always tell people 30%. 40% max. This is about that 40%. It is Bitcoin, so even at a 40%, and again, I'm doing it at market lows. I'm doing it at, doing it in the 80K range. I wasn't doing it at 125, borrowing 40%. I've only taken out these big leverage numbers. Like you guys are in a good opportunity zone, I believe. And you know, at this 80K level. And then back in April, I did it as well. And I rinsed it up to here, and like Chip said, rinse, repeat, boom, right? I'm not having to sell my spot assets like my Bitcoin and stuff like that. I can hold it long term, but I am rinsing and repeating with the DeFi business, with the leverage and the cash flow and the appreciation these make, and some of the appreciation for my altcoins and stuff. I do it with everything. I do it with, let's look at Sui. I have a little bit of Sui, I think, hopefully. Well, maybe not. The problem is my password for every wallet is literally different on, it's the wrong wallet. My password's different on every device, like my phone, my laptop, like, let's see, what's this one got? I think this one's got some, right? Okay, so this is much more risky, right? Because Sui, as we've seen, can just go down 80%. Boom. So if you're gonna borrow, it's better to do it now than at $4, obviously. But still, you want to give yourself a lot of room for error on these coins. It's different with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a different game. That's much more like your real estate. Sui is much more speculative. So if you're going down the rabbit hole on these, you need to be careful. Light, light, light. But what's the game, right? Okay, Sui, holding this here, waiting for a 4x, right? Back to $4 or whatnot, $4 or $5. Jake said $10, I have to get a tattoo. There's 4 days left in the year, and I think, not even, there's what, 3 days left? I think I'm not getting that tattoo, guys. I think I'm safe. But again, okay, 8-9 grand here, waiting for a nice pretty 4x, let's call it, on that. USDC borrow, right? And where do we put this? I think I have a little Sui to Bitcoin pool on this, which is, it's not impressive at all. It's like a 20%, 30% APR. Sunday, we'll see what it is. And 14%. Fucking trash, right? Usually it's better than that. That's the lowest I've ever seen. But look, making 15%, what am I paying to own that? Paying 4%. I'm paying 4% a year to have a pool that's making me 15%, and it's leveraging me into more Sui and Bitcoin, right? If this was paying better, it'd be a lot more exciting. It's not, but look, another $15 to claim, making $1 a day in fees, as well as having the exposure. And look, not only did I borrow 3K, but the 3K is appreciated to about 3,400. I saw this a couple weeks ago when the market was a little higher. It was up at like around 4K already. Then we're back down a little bit. But then I've also been using the cash flow. I'd claim this $15, letting that out as more Bitcoin. So it's made $100 in Bitcoin in the last month or whatever I've been doing this. It's not impressive, 15%. It's not exciting. But when the market then does come back, what this does for me is it uses all this Sui and buys into Bitcoin automatically. And then boom, I've essentially used leverage to leverage myself into more Bitcoin for free. And like, that's the game. Pay back the 3K, keep the difference in the Bitcoin. Bada boom, bada bang, right? That's the game. That's just the game. This one's a lot less exciting, but it's just an example of how you can do it here too. But, you know, Sui I use more often just for like, well, usually their stablecoin yields are pretty good, which means their borrow rates are pretty not good. But right now, they're not really. What do I got? Do I have that wallet here? I don't think I have that wallet here. JK. JK on the laptop. Let's see. How we doing? Everybody's brain hurting yet? How we do? We hanging in there? Yeah. Again, I have not seen this. I will look more into this. Producing yield from yield. Exactly. Yield stacking. Yield on yield on yield. Like I have my Solana, for example. Solana has inflation. Make sure you're staking it. I have it liquid staked. I then lend that Solana out. It's earning the liquid staked APR. It's earning the smallest, slightest lending APR as well. And I borrow against that Solana, and I use that Solana to run pools or to buy more. You can use it just buy more Bitcoin. You can do all kinds of like. It's very modular. You just have to come up with what your plan is. What is your plan? What is your goal for success in crypto? It could be something as simple as I want my Bitcoin to make me more Bitcoin over the long term. And you're focused on using this and strategies that are very long term, very safe assets, I'd say. Link, I would say, is a long-term asset, right? Ethereum, Monad. You can tweak to be however aggressive you want to be based on your risk tolerance, but you can use this to cash flow to the portfolio that you want to have. What is this one? Is this one right? Let's see. This one's a little more of an aggressive APR, 10% a month, right? Okay, about similar number, but it's making $1,500 a month. Okay, but a little more aggressive in Monad. And like you said, yield on yield. It's like this is the game, right? And it's not going to make you rich overnight, but over the long term, you're going to be very well off. And I can tell you that just from 2 to 3 years of experience. Yeah, DeFi and Jake's new trading group going to be busy learning in 2026. Yeah, no, it's a time commitment. I would say what's nice is the DeFi here, it's very hands-off once you figure it out. Like once you really know what's going on. Like these ranges I've shown you, they're very wide. They're like literally 2 years in terms of boundaries, very low maintenance. And you can use that. If you're making $1,500 a month, if you wanted to be a trader, which I don't, right? I don't. But if you wanted to, $1,500 a month you can use a percentage of this to take those free bets, those free trades. And it's all like Chip said, yield on yield. You're using the free bets to make more free bets, right? So I don't want to be a trader, okay? It's like, you know, you can focus on your active income. If I'm going to trade, that's just replacing with a different form of active income that I'm not really wanting, you know, the YouTube income, still bartend and stuff like that, make really good money doing that. And then all this, right? And it's like, I'm just chilling. I'm not looking for more on my plate, I guess. I'm just trying to scale what I'm already doing, scale the DeFi portfolios, scale the YouTube, and then eventually back off the whole bartending thing eventually. It's fun though. I mean, I like it. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so this break from Thailand for a month will be interesting. We'll see how much I really like it. We'll see how much I hate it when I come back. I think I'm just so used to doing it that I love it. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, if you have a good active income and stuff, you know, we talked about how, you know, the Bitcoin, like if your LTVs get scary low, you just buy more Bitcoin, right? Just lower those entries. I have too many fucking wallets in this computer. Just buy more Bitcoin, increasing your LTV. Boom, boom, boom. So it could be a bit of a headache though. So definitely don't overcomplicate it. And that's why, you know, in our group here, I still have people watch this version. This version is like the speed run. It's like an hour of just getting the essential knowledge to get started. Because a lot of people, they get stuck in this purgatory of like needing to understand like little nuances and stuff that like you should know eventually. But I mean, like they're not necessary. Like people ask, what's the difference between a farm and a pool? And it's like that question will not actually like change you getting started and making money though. Like fundamentally, you're gonna get paid the same, especially if you're using VFAT, but it's just a little bit difference in how it works. Pools, you get paid in the 2 assets you provide. Farms, you get paid in a reward token. But some people will wait to get started just because they don't know those, which I'm not saying it's always a bad thing, but there's some people that they just sit in that learning stage for way too long and they never just open the little testers, like those little test positions. If you open $100, right? See it working. This little $100 right here makes me $30 a month. Like you could use that to buy someone a gift. Christmas gift. Bartend on New Year's. It should be fun and make some money. Actually, funny enough, we sell like all you can drink packages till midnight. So we never usually make a lot of money on New Year's, but it's always fun. It's always a heck of a good time, but you know, free drinks, people don't tip, you know, the same as they do on an actual tab. But it's always been fun. And like those people are some of my closest friends. Yeah, and you get paid to do it. Most people pay you to do. Like most people go out and pay to party. I get paid to party. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Analysis paralysis. Exactly. And I try to be nice to how I say that to people sometimes, but it's true. Some people, they spend a little too long learning because they don't yet feel safe to just click it. But in all reality, you're going to feel safer after you just click the buttons and see what happens, right? Like that's going to then give you the actual knowledge that you need. You're trying to learn, like, yeah, you can only learn so much from someone, at least me. Like me, I have to do it. Like I won't learn it the same reading it and all this stuff as just doing it. I've always felt that way. Not everyone's like that, but analysis paralysis will definitely hold you back. It's like the boxing thing with Jake. It's like I could just sit there freaked out, I don't know how to box, or I could just buy a coach and start working. Like that's what I had to do, right? Like what am I going to do? Just watch YouTube and be like, oh, I just don't get the shadow box. Or am I going to just buy a coach? Like, you know. Does all this DeFi connect to something like CoinLedger for transaction, yield, taxation? Yeah, you just connect like your wallets, right? So you take your addresses and you plug them in, and then you can still edit those transactions too. So like sometimes it'll count something like wrong, or it'll say like it doesn't know the source of funds, and you can edit that transaction and fix it, show it where that money came from. Or like, for example, in the US, like it's Bitcoin to Coinbase wrap Bitcoin, that wrapping process is not supposed to be a taxable event. So if it tries to tell you it is, you can just like literally like say not taxable event, which is pretty cool. I think I don't use CoinLedger though. I use Coin Tracker, I believe, which is pretty cool. I think I have a discount code. It's probably in here. Let's be honest. Let's see. Tax Coin Tracker save 20%. Cool. Pop this in chat. Let's see. This might get weird for a second. Sorry. That's the one I've used, but I mean, you don't have to use that one at all. Yeah, Coin Tracker, boom, boom, boom. 57 minutes ago. We've been going, guys. I talk way too freaking much. Way too freaking much. See how the channel's doing. Big chillin'. Big chillin', guys. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely been a long road, but it's only been, I mean, I made a couple videos in 24, but then I stopped until February. So it's really only been about 10 months. 10 months of like actually going. It's been pretty fun, guys. Pretty damn fun. Let's see, how much do you charge for the group mentorship? So, I mean, it is a high ticket service, right? But it is lifetime access as well. Also, currently for anyone that is joining right now, if you're doing we have a pay in full and then we have like a 2 payment option. But if you are paying in full right now, you do get free access to our mastermind in Thailand next month, not next month, sorry, February. Pretty cool. So, of course, mate, anytime. So yeah, I mean, just book a call, see if you're a good fit. If not, like, you know, my guys like Chris, they're pretty well coached on just point you in the right direction. But I mean, yeah, we'll just take your call, see if you're a good fit, see what your goals are, what you've been doing so far, where you're at, and see if it makes sense, man. And again, it's 131 people, right? So also having a little bit of that higher ticket price, which is not like, it's not like crazy, right? I'm not charging people like, you know, 30 grand or something like to freaking join. It's not like anything retarded like that. But it filters out just who's joining, which could be nice for a lot of people too, because, you know, it's not a free group. It's not like the Discord where there's a bunch of scammers and crazy stuff going on. Oh, I guess it's the wrong window. Not a bunch of crazy stuff going on, but it's a lot of people that are serious about the game with good portfolio sizes and good not institutional mindset, but like long-term mindset. It's gotten us to the place where the community is shaped to like really how we like the mindset to be, which is pretty good. So it's just, if you are a good fit, like we said, and like the vibe and the experience is right, then it's pretty sweet. I've learned more in this stream than all the vids since I found you months ago. Good stuff, bro. So that's the problem, right? Is like, I know a fuck ton of shit about this stuff, but it's really hard it's hard for me to package that in a video that gets good retention. So that's why a lot of the good performing videos that you see, like the ones that have the good amount of views, it's more of me just be like almost kind of motivational type stuff, vague. And so even when I do like onboarding calls. Like when I was first doing onboarding calls with Jake and stuff like that, I would get too into the weeds with stuff, and people would just gloss over. Like, oh, geez, about just knock my laptop down. Don't want to do that. People kind of gloss over because I would go too into the weeds. So I've gotten better about teaching it as well. But yeah, he hates like when on the streams and stuff, I go into the super in-depth kind of stuff. But hey, again, it's like the information should already be out there. Like, let's make the information free. And then just, the implementation is like, hey, this is more of the rubbing shoulders, 130 people, masterminds, direct coaching 24/7, where it's like, you just get this all the time, right? But I mean, the information's out there. And so, the goal of working with me is just to shortcut a lot of those pitfalls and stuff. But even like you said, I hope I can be just as valuable here on a live. It's a little different because we're not talking back and forth, but text chat works just as good. I'm happy to see multiple people in here. Makes me happy, makes it more fun for me, right? Yeah, I just try to give the value, man. Like I know the stuff. It's just that was the worst part, I think, for me before like starting the group and stuff like that, was just that I knew the stuff, but I didn't have anyone to talk to about it, right? It's like even the guys I knew that were in crypto, they weren't in crypto like I was, bro. They were just like, they had a little bit of bullshit, whatever they might have. So it's pretty interesting to, that's how I first found Jake, was I was watching his YouTube channel and I paid for his community, which is like a lower ticket community at the time, but just to be around people that were in crypto, right? And then it's evolved into the point where, man, I'll tell you guys some deep lore. I almost left that group back in the day because I was just like, I felt like I was not outgrowing, but the conversations were just different because it was much more of kind of how we talk about the high ticket. It's tailored. It's a much different experience now. A lot of the conversations were more like very, very beginner, and I was down this rabbit hole, so it wasn't very fulfilling for me. And then somehow it ended up turning into, became a teacher and started giving value and stuff like that. Coach, whatever you will. So Crypto Labs guys, yeah, I like those guys a lot. I know like Lucas, for example, his mindset videos and stuff I used to listen to a lot. Like when I was first starting, like he's always had really great content, good guy, super freaking nice. I bought his book. I haven't read it yet, but I want to read it, make a video like review on it. He's always been supportive of me, very nice, and I like those guys as well. They have a low ticket option, I think, in there as well. But yeah, good guys. I don't know any of the other guys. Like I've talked to Lucas on the phone and stuff before, a couple of years back. But yeah, cool dude, very nice. Got a cool car collection and stuff. Definitely living a good life over there, man. And the book thing, that's really inspirational to me. I like that it's that whole create, not take kind of experience, right? Like put the knowledge out there. That's what I try to do here. Try to just give it away for free, and then karma, God, all that stuff, it'll do its job, and it has. So, yeah, would love to answer any questions anyone ever has at any time, whether it's a comment on videos. I try to always respond. YouTube comments have voice notes now, which is freaking fire. I wish school doesn't, which is annoying. So it's easier on Zoom calls sometimes, but there is voice notes in this now, which is easy for me to just pop a phone up real quick, 30-second response. Super cool. January 2026 is when I figure out what high ticket means. I just mean like it's not $100 to join, right? Like, yeah, it's not gonna be $100, because we're trying to filter out just, you know. Plus, it's like, hey, I have my sales team, and I pay Jake as well. Like I pay all these guys, right? So it is, it's a full functioning business, right? And it's pretty cool how that's come full circle in that. Same way with the Crypto Labs guys, right? Like they have a huge staff, right? So they're paying all their guys too, which it's a pretty crazy experience how it went from this little crypto rabbit hole into like paying employees and then giving value and helping people. I mean, like I'm teaching, like there's some millionaires in that group, guys, where it's like I'm teaching millionaires how to make 50K a month, right? And so at the beginning, there was a lot of that kind of imposter syndrome. It was just weird. It's weird to be doing that, right? And so that's why, a lot of these guys end up becoming a lot of our closest friends, just because, you can't find the people day to day to talk to about this stuff. No one else will get it. No one else understands. They gloss over all the conversations at Christmas, surface level, if anything, and they're still glossing over, man. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Jake mentions the cost too. Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's just part of the game. Like I try to give the value here for free. So it's like, if you want to work with us directly, then, it's just a bit of a different game. But for the people that see the value there, it's there. And then for some, it's like, this should be enough. And I hope I give enough value here that this would always be enough to get started. So, I hope that's the case. And if it's ever not, let me know and we'll fix that. So, because I believe in just giving it away best I can. Let's think if there's anything exciting to talk about. Um, Not really. I can't really think of anything jumping out at me right now. We hit the hour mark. Somebody tell me something. I wish we could talk. Wish it was a little more. I've been missing Jake. Somehow the UK times are worse to deal with than freaking Thailand times. So we hit a couple voice notes back and forth each day and then off to bed. So, let me think. Video scheduled for tomorrow. Let's see. Make sure you get a few punches into Jake's mouth, hoping that fixes his accent. Bro, that's crazy. Yeah, so funny enough about accents, man. There's some guys, because this is like global, right? I mean, there's like tons. I'm not trying to like dox people's names and stuff, right? But bro, there's some guys I can barely understand sometimes. So, which is cool. But also, if I'm around guys from a different country too much, I almost feel like I start to pick up that accent a little bit. I gotta like snap out of it real quick because it starts to catch on. So we'll see how I end up talking when I come back from Thailand. Guys that buy and hold only, I introduced a DeFi to them, but then the eye glaze moment occurs. Yeah. So it's really hard to teach about that because you just can't even like have that conversation, right? You got to basically just kind of like do a sneak peek, like phone, like, oh look at this APR type thing, and like, oh, how does that work? And then I'll just do like, that's what I've gotten better about doing too, is just giving it in like the more normal person vocabulary. So kind of like how I was giving that, the long version of normal person vocabulary was still like, hey, it's like real estate. You're borrowing equity against your home to get new rental properties, right? That's what I'm doing here. I'm equity against my Bitcoin, borrowing that and putting it to work, making money, my little crypto business. And then we ask the businesses, it's just like I'm doing what Coinbase does, but cheaper, and I make money, right? So it's like, how do you give the most simple version of what you do? How you do it, a little more complicated, but even then, once like, it sounds like you're kind of down the rabbit hole already. Once you're comfortable with wallets and actually knowing like what the process is, it's really simple. It's really simple. And the problem is you might get bored and chase crazy APRs and do some stupid shit, which you don't want to do. Shallow question, but if I took on medium risk, what kind of returns could I get on 400K, 12 to 15% a month average? I mean, if you're at that level, right, 400K, in my opinion, it's like you don't have to chase even 15%. You don't have to. If you were doing 70%, let's just say something very, very safe, like say you copied this exactly and we did something like this, right? 70%, that's still pretty damn good. Like, let's see, what's 70% on? Let's do the math because I'm not trying to do this math in my head. It's going to piss me off. 70% times 400K. Cool. Casually doing 280 grand a year, divide that by 12, and you're doing 20K, 23K a month, right? And it's like, okay. So we have guys like, for example, a great way to explain this is one of the guys in our group, we've name dropped him before, but I try not to use his name all the time. He has over $1 million in Bitcoin. So what do me and him do, right? So what he does is he has about 400,000, maybe like between 3 and 400,000 borrowed against his Bitcoin, right? So he does exactly what I'm talking about here, but at scale. And that's kind of how I was talking about, hey, I'm teaching guys that, he's at least not older though. He's had a successful business and made a bunch of money. Now he's like, how do I make more money off my money? And so instead of having 23K here and 10K here, he's got, 1 point something million here, which is crazy, right? And then he's got like 3 to 400K borrowed. And he puts that in just simple like ETH USDC type stuff, like simple, low risk, doesn't need to chase Monads 272 and stuff like that. And the bad months are like 20 grand. Like the bad months, right? Where we just kind of like, because sometimes he'll like miss the calls and stuff. He's traveling to Dubai and taking vacations. Like he's doing pretty good, right? And we have screenshots and stuff, which I think like my sales guys, they pull those up a lot from conversations with him and stuff. But it's cool, right? It's cool that like on his worst months, it's like 20 something $1,000, and it's like, it's like once you hit that point, you're kind of big chilling. And he only needs to take Bitcoin-esque risk. Bitcoin, lending, borrowing against, and then running DeFi, right? And so it's like, that's the game. And on the good months where you can make like 50, 60K, he's the one that had a screenshot where, Is this in the group? I don't know where it is. Right here, right? This is a screenshot from his portfolio. It's just a little snippet of it, but on a high volume day, bro made 4K in a day. Right? I think there's one more where it's hit like a 9K-er, I think. Let me see if I have it on my phone. I think the record was like 9K in a day. Let's see. I don't know how I can probably send it to myself on school, maybe. What I like about MacBooks, this is my Windows, like my old gaming computer and stuff that I do this stuff off of. But if I had it on MacBook, I could just like pop it up on the screen, or I can text stuff to myself, copy paste to the same device. It's pretty damn nice. It's just not as easy with Windows. Also, I'm acting like I can't use my phone. Let's see. We can look for community wins, this folder. Let's see if this is in here. That's saying 2,000 a day. That was pretty average for a while. So we're gonna pull that up. Oh, the little dynamic islands in the way. How do I make this the right size? All right. 400 something thousand. Hopefully you can see that. And if I scroll over at a 167% APR, I'm doing 2K a day. Bam, locked in, right? Let's see if I can find the good screenshot. That's 344. Ah, there it is, baby. Let's see. What does that say? Can you read that? 459,000, making $9,466 a day at a 752% APR, which was, again, we're in like this little bear market territory right now. So it's like everything looks so unexciting, but at the same time, a lot of the guys that are joining our group and stuff now, they're learning at these prices, so they're not getting this like nasty degen taste where it's like, I need to have that 700%. Those things do come later. Those things happen when the market's hot and there's lots of volume and things are going crazy, right? So right now, like ETHUSDC, I would say 68% is kind of shit for ETHUSDC, but it's still good. It's still very good. It's just there are times that it's even freaking better, right? 750%, that's like a very high volume day. It's not at all sustainable, as you'd see, much more realistic for like a 68 on something like that. But that's just the game, right? And so that's why, again, a lot of what we teach is like to use the spreadsheets and stuff and track, because this might say 68% right now. Tomorrow it might say 160%. Next week it might have a 200% day. There might be a day where it says 30%. So if you're tracking everything, you can actually then see that at the end of the month, you're like, okay, I made 10% this month. So I know it's on pace for 120%. And that is including the days where it was crazy high, the days where it was crazy low, all of the above, right? And I track monthly. That's how I play my game. So some people, they'll text me, they'll be like, hey, why does it say 15% APR right now? And I'm like, just look again in 20 minutes. It'll say 80%. Like, just don't freak out. Just don't freak out. Same way how with ranges, I got those texts earlier, which I could probably pull those up, where it's like, hey, we're outside of our range on Solana to the downside because they had like a 125 bottom on their range. And I said I would just do nothing, to be honest. And look, it's back in range already. So sometimes it's just best to do nothing. You just zoom out, long-term mindset. Mind maps help visualizing, definitely. Mind maps I like. Miro is a pretty cool tool to use. Let's see, I think, YouTube, what's this one? I always have all kinds of crap. What the fuck is all this? I don't know. I think those are video ideas. What do I don't even know what's going on here. This might be the wrong one. That looks so chaotic. Let's see. And this one. Cool, right? So this is just talking about like different strategies where it's like, okay, fresh capital, lend Bitcoin, borrow stables, asset to asset pool. Don't know about this one. It is what it is. Okay. And this is someone's strategy we're just talking about that they're running. And it's just like if you're doing 10% a month off, let's say 50K lent out, borrow 25, 10% a month off that, you're making 25 grand a month. Take some of that profit into Bitcoin, loop it back around, take some of that profit into stable coins, stack it, right? And it's just like you can make all kinds of. I think I got a video Monday coming out on this. This is a video coming out Monday, I think. I recorded this like weeks ago, but it's kind of like, are you going to be a trader, or are you going to get rich quick, or are you going to win for sure type video? So yeah, flow charts and stuff like that, I like. They're fun. This is talking about real estate. This one's for Friday, I think, right? Kind of like I was talking about. It's like, okay, the wealth building process. Which will be cool. I'll save it for the video. which, as you guys can tell, I'm okay at the live streams because I always am just off the cuff. Like, I never script videos, right? Like, I just off the cuff everything. So, for better or for worse, at least I can just go at it. I'm not reading from a cheat sheet. So, let's see where chat's at. You point them to me and Jake's channels? Yeah, good luck, man. Appreciate the info. We'll be joining the group soon. Is the call we book with you or Jake? When you book the call, it 99.9% of the time goes to one of my team guys. So it's either going to go to a guy named Chris or a guy named Ryan. That's my sales team. They just do the job of filtering out kind of like, who's looking, like what their goals are, how they've done in crypto so far, and then, showing you the offer as well. And they go through a lot of our community as well and like give you the whole rundown, right? So, I mean, because there's guys that, they try to join and then, they have like negative net worth. And it's like, hey, it's just, you need to focus on working a job right now. And I mean that in the most loving way, but there's people where it's like, hey, I'm not going to let you pay me. And like, no, you need to focus on this, and yeah, unfortunately there are people that I say I can't help because they're in a worse position where they need to focus on other things, right? And it's just the truth, I'm not trying to make it's the same thing with my investing thesis. I'm not trying to make as much money as possible, but I'm trying to win for sure. And so if I'm running like a shitty business, like then I'm gonna not get any more business, right? So I'm giving away free value. You can only imagine what's inside and how I'm gonna work with you. And then like, that's the game. If you want to work with me, you can. If you're someone that I know I can't benefit you working with you, it's like I don't want to do that. Like if I know I can't be a net positive. Or like let's say, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Like, yeah. So scripts aren't needed with AI. Yeah. I've been called AI so many times. I was told that my car was AI, which again, it's been in the shop. They found it. It's been in the shop for like 2 weeks, and insurance has not yet approved the shop to repair it because they haven't got the police report. So whatever that means. All I know is my city doesn't do shit. When I got my truck totaled like 4 months ago now, I was leaving my bartending job, got totaled, and I live like 5 minutes from the bartending job, which is great. I live like in downtown in my city, and yeah, cops didn't come. I got hit at 3 a.m. At 7 a.m., I called my own tow truck because the cops never came. They were too busy responding to like real crime, I guess. I guess I wasn't important, guys. So called my own tow truck, and yeah, cops don't do fucking anything out here. Unfortunately, because I have family that are police and stuff, and I've always that was like my dude. I went to college. I was gonna be a cop. That's crazy. Look at me now, retarded. But fucking idiot now. No, I'm playing. But yeah. And I was gonna go to college for that too, which is crazy. You don't need to go to college to be a cop. Crazy. Crazy. But my uncle was like on the SWAT team and stuff, so it was always pretty cool. Always kind of liked the idea of that stuff. Didn't really want to do military or anything like that. Never. And I'm happy I didn't. Because life works out the way it's supposed to, and same with you guys, right? Everyone's on their path, and it's like only you know what that path is, and sometimes you can't see it right away. You just gotta trust your mission, and it'll work out, I promise. So, cool, man. I don't know if anyone else has any questions in there. I have nothing to do right now, to be honest. I was gonna film some videos, and so if anyone has any emergency questions, I'm happy to answer them. But if not, we'll just wrap it up there. Just gonna film tonight, maybe make a little something for dinner. Not sure what yet. And I did just set up this new tracer, which is fire, by the way. So I can recommend this one. It's been pretty cool to use. You can also just hook those tracers up to like your Grabby wallet and sign things that way, which is pretty neat. You can still use DeFi on that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That's about all I got, boys. It's about all I got. Yeah, video tomorrow. And I'll try to, you guys said you learned more in the live streams than the videos. I'll try to be better. The problem is like when I go the super autistic videos, let me try to look back in the history and just think. Well, also because I used to do, every video used to be like super freaking autistic, I feel like, and no one watched. So, I don't know. I think I enjoy that this casts a wider net in terms of views, just in like it's going to funnel more people like that top of funnel in. And then, I can give like the really nitty gritty on, if I do a live stream by myself, I'm very happy to give this super in-depth kind of detail, but with Jake, oh, he hates when I do this shit. He hates when I do this shit, man. When are the lives scheduled? So that's what we're figuring out because we still want to do lives with Jake. So we're trying to figure that out right now because there's only about a month where he's going to be in UK, and then I'm going to be going to Thailand. So things might switch up again after that. But all our previous times are no longer eligible because that would be like 1 a.m. for him now. So I might still do about this time on Sundays. Not entirely sure. If I'm doing a different Sunday time with him, I might not do 2 live streams in a day, but I might, just for shits and giggles. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, schedule-wise, might do this on my own. Might just do pop-ups random throughout the week. As far as the schedule, trying to work that out with Jake. Might do, I don't know what time zone you guys are. I'm in the US, like Central Time, so probably like 8 a.m.s. Might do like some mornings because it'd be afternoon for him. Do some mornings like Tuesday or Thursday. Because I box in the mornings Monday and Wednesday right now. So I might do that Tuesday, Wednesday instead. I'm not rushing before boxing. So I don't know. Ladies and gents, GG. I'm going to film some content. I actually might eat and fucking wet my throat first because my shit is so dry right now. I've been talking for an hour and a half straight. All right, boys. GG. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop comments on the videos. If not, I'll just see you on the next stream, boys, or see you inside the group. The link should be right here on the channel. So throw back to the beard back in Mexico. Ah, the good old days. All right. GG, guys. Have a good one. If I can find the in stream. Laptop's in the way. I can't find it. I can't find it. And boom. No, I don't like that one. Yeah, there we go, baby. See you, boys.